Hello, Alvin ISD Geometry students. In this video, we're going to look at the volume of pyramids and cones. Volume of a pyramid. So the volume of a pyramid, the formula is V equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Quick reminder, area of the base. In this instance, since the shape of the base is a rectangle, that means that to find the area of this base, we're going to have to do base times height, where this base and this height are of this rectangle. So B and H are the dimensions of the rectangular base. Here is our first example. So I've got my pyramid. First thing I want to do is write my formula. V equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. Now this time they actually gave me the area of the base. So the area of the base is 22. And then they also gave me the height of the pyramid. Remember, it's what goes down into the middle and makes that right angle. So the height of my pyramid is 5. So now all I have to do is substitute in my values. So I've got 1/3, 22 times 5. When I do my calculations, I get 36.6 repeating. And if I round that to the nearest hundredth, I get 36 and 67 hundredths centimeters cubed. Here is our next example. So we've got another pyramid. First thing I'm going to do is write my formula. Volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. This time, in order for me to find my area of the base, which is a triangle, I've got to find the area of that triangle. So my formula for that is 1/2 base times height. This time the base and the height are of this triangle. So my base would be 15 and the height of the triangle would be 6. I would take those values and substitute them in. So I've got area of the base equals 1/2 of 15 times 6. When I do my calculations, that gives me 45. So now I've got the area of the base. Now I just need the height. They actually tell me the height. They tell me that the height is 14. So I can take the 45 and 14 and substitute that into my formula for volume. So I've got volume equals 1/3 45 times 14. And when I do my calculations, they come out nice and pretty. I get 210 feet cubed. Now we're going to look at volume of a cone. So volume of a cone, the formula for it is very similar to volume of a pyramid. So they both start off with the same thing. Volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. But this time the area of my base is the shape of my base is a circle. So the area of the base would be pi r squared. So in order to find the volume of a cone, my formula is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. Here is my first cone example. So now we're trying to find the volume of a cone. The first thing I'm going to do is write my formula. Volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. Now since I am talking about a cone, I am going to go ahead and change that. So volume equals 1/3 pi r squared times the height. In this example, they told me that my radius was 3. And also in my diagram, I can see that my height is 7. So all I have to do now is substitute these values into my formula. So I have volume equals 1/3 pi times 3 squared times 7. When I do my calculations, I get volume equals 65 and a lot of numbers. So if I round that to the nearest hundredth, I get the volume is approximately 65 and 97 hundredths feet cubed. Here is my second example for volume of a cone. You'll notice this one's a little bit different in that the height is on the side. It's not straight up through the middle. So I'm going to begin the same way I always do. Write my formula. Volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. Substitute in my formula for a circle. So I have 1/3 pi r squared times the height. They still gave me my radius, so I know my radius is 8. And they also gave me my height, can tell it's the height because of the little right angle symbol right there. So my height is 15. All I need to do now is substitute in my values. So I have 1/3 times pi times 8 squared times 15. When I do my calculations, I get that number. And when I approximate to the nearest hundredth, I get 1,005 and 31 hundredths centimeters cubed. Here is my third example for volume of a cone. I'm going to start the same way I have with the other ones. So 1/3 area of the base times the height. Then substitute in my formula for the area of a circle to get volume equals 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So this time they didn't give me the radius, but they did give me that the angle measure of this, or the degree of that angle measure, is 30 degrees. Well, I remember that we've talked about previously special right triangles. So this is what I remember. It looks similar to that, but not exactly. Luckily, if I flip it upside down, I can tell they gave me the height. So this is 5. So this side is what's going to be my radius. So that means that my radius is 5 times the square root of 3. So now I know my radius is 5 times the square root of 3. They've already given me the height of the triangle, which is the height of the cone. So the height of the cone is 5. Now I can substitute those values into my formula. So I have 1/3 times pi times 5 times the square root of 3 squared times 5. When I do my calculations, I get to that number. And when I round to the nearest hundredth, I get 392 and 7/10 centimeters cubed. All right, now we have an example of a word problem. A pyramidion that was discovered in Saqqara, Egypt in 1992 has a rectangular base, 53 centimeters by 37 centimeters. It is 46 centimeters high. What is the volume of this pyramidion round to the nearest tenth? So if I'm looking at the problem and I want to pull out the important information, I can see that it has a rectangular base, 53 by 37, and it is, the pyramid itself is 46 centimeters high. Here's a quick diagram of what that would look like. Starting the same way I always have with my formula. So I know that the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 area of the base times the height. They didn't give me the base, but I do know that it's a rectangle. So that means that my base is equal to 53 times 37, or 1,961. They did give me the height of the pyramid, so I know that the height of the pyramid is 46 centimeters. Now I'm going to take those values and substitute them into my formula. So I have 1/3 times 1,961 times 46. When I do my calculations, I get this number, which they told me this time to round to the nearest tenth. So I have the volume of that pyramid is 30,068 and 7/10 centimeters cubed. Thank you.